Welcome, everyone, to the Litecast here on the CF After Dark Network. I'm Austin Keeney. I'm hosting tonight, joined by, back in his old stomping grounds. We always love when we can have Dylan on the podcast. We've got Dylan Kuhn taking Matt's place. Matt's traveling for work. So Dylan graciously stepped in, especially because it's football season. We know how much Dylan loves football. So, Dylan, how you doing, my man? Good to talk to you.
Doing good. Always a pleasure to be back on the Lightcast. I always say it feels like being back home. So happy to be on. It's always fun when we have a full house when it's you, me, and Matt. But happy to fill in when I can, especially during football season here.
We got Donnie Rickles checking in. We've got Matthias checking
God.
in on the road back from Ames. All right, so this is like the boss is kind of watching us a little bit here.
Right.
So we have to put on a good performance. And we've got an early projection here that we're going to go 10-2. So I'm sure you're feeling good about that one.
Cyclone Larry's burner to his burner.
Is that Cyclone Larry? I don't know. I think that guy might be coming back at some point here soon. We'll see. Allegedly. I think Dylan, what we got to do though is we got to start the show tonight talking about big news that broke last week for Iowa State basketball. You're a basketball guy. Let Him Cook podcast, by the way, on Cyclone Fanatic. Timely interview with Taman Lipsey a couple weeks ago. I'm sure that might come up here pretty soon, but it was some bad news. Killian Toure, shoulder injury. He's going to be out for basically non-conference play. Dylan, I know this one was probably tough on you, but now that you've had about a week to digest the news, we know a little bit more. We know it's not maybe the worst case scenario, and we will get some Toure this year. How are you feeling about the whole situation?
Yeah, I mean, it was just kind of a backbreaker. Killian Toure is the exact kind of basketball player that I love to watch, and just like no nonsense, put your head down on defense and go to work, and really just feels like a carbon copy of Taman. Like it really felt like a passing of the torch to, hey, if the Big 12 was sick of Taman Lipsey, here's another guy that's going to do exactly that for a couple more years. So, I mean, it sucks. And he was put in such a good place, I feel like, as a freshman to start and to really kind of be in those big moments. He's played in a lot of big games already. And you really felt like TJ has been so good with that first summer with a lot of these guys where everyone makes a leap, whether it's on offense or defense. I think the two biggest leaps we've seen from year to year is probably Taman from freshman to sophomore, and then Joshua Jefferson from junior to senior year. And I don't know, another one that comes to mind, and obviously a different head coach, but Monte from his freshman to sophomore year just looked like two completely different players. So I think like that is such a important offseason for college basketball players going into their sophomore year. And it sucks that this one kind of got derailed. I will say, like, the non-con is probably even easier than it was last year. And honestly, like, we didn't have a walk in the park non-con last year, but like, I feel okay that like he's going to be here in January. I mean, that's really when you're going to need that guy. And hopefully he's able to play. Yeah. And like
Got a nomination for Curtis Jones is a big year-over-year leap guy too.
The thing about him too is you kind of saw it, and you saw it with Toure too a little bit. Like halfway through Curtis's first year, you're like, oh, this guy, he's gonna figure it out. Like you could tell at the end of like Taman's freshman year, it was pretty bleak. Like he was getting left wide ass open. Joshua Jefferson looked good, but you wouldn't have thought he was gonna be like an All-American. I mean, like he was really solid. He would show flashes, but when Kurt started hitting threes his first year, you're like, hey man, I think this guy's he's gonna be all right. But yeah, I mean, Toure's that sucks. And I mean, college sports is nonsense right now, Keeney. I like, as someone who loves following college sports, I feel vastly out of the loop every 24 hours because a different court ruling comes down from a different state that allows a couple of NCAA players to be eligible next year, but then a couple are not, and then they sue a different state. It's just like there's so much going on right now. I mean, we have a spot open, but again, it's just like it's so hard for me to like I don't know what you do as the player, right? Because if you
Yeah.
do commit to one of these colleges, you have no knowledge of if that's actually going to work when games start in November.
Well, we'll kind of get to the idea of, what is this like? What do we do with the roster? Because we do have that open spot. But um, just, I mean, the thing that stinks the most about Toure is this is really going to limit any opportunity for him to be a more reliable jump shooter. It's not like
Yeah,
it's his right shoulder and it's his his rotator cuff, or maybe no, it wasn't
I
rotator, it
think
was late, but like he's not going to be getting 500 threes up a day.
right.
He could be working on being a defensive menace. So you kind of needed that offensive leap from Torrey to maybe help the ceiling of this team. Um, what could sneaky? All right, so here's your optimist perspective. Dylan, what has I mean, you would probably say that Iowa State has peaked a little bit early in each of the last two seasons, right? We're sitting in January, ranked number 2 in the AP poll, I think in consecutive years, and then we'd hit that little bit of a slide. So the optimist perspective here is going to say, all right, we're going to get through non-conference play, then we're going to inject this guy in January who should be a really good player, and then he gets that ramp up period, and then maybe by like late February, March, we're rolling on all cylinders. So
Yeah,
that's my hope here. I do hate it for Torre because he took off in Vegas last year. He was so good in those players era games, and that
was
that almost like put him on the NBA radar, I think. And
right.
it's just gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt his stock to not be able to play as much, not show as much of an offensive game this year. But we'll we've got. We don't need to
The injury
relitigate it,
bug
but
is
obviously we
great.
know it's injuries. I don't know. Maybe we should talk about that for a minute. What is the deal with TJ Otzelberger? What deal with the devil did he make that causes us to be injured at the worst possible times?
I mean, so many of them feel so fluky too. Like that Joshua Jefferson one, I don't think I'll ever get over it because it was just it was a layup line. Like it's literally what you practice before every single practice or every game. I mean, it was just like a wide open layup. It's not like he landed on somebody's foot or he was going up in contact and fell funky. Just like came for really no apparent reason. And I mean, that's just a brutal one. And I like some of it, especially like Taman's injuries. When you're flying around like Taman does and play the way he does, you're going to get banged up. And that's kind of to be expected. And Torre, I mean, kind of the same thing. But man, it is just brutal. And even in football, too. Like we were talking about the football season last year, how good we looked when we were at full strength. And then to just kind of go through the season and guys start dropping like flies. I mean, you're a totally different team by November than Iowa State was in September of last year.
Yeah, if anybody knows how to deal with it, I guess it's Iowa State. But gosh, yeah, it's
It
just like
sucks. It's
we're
not
here
fair. Like,
again.
that's what sucks. It's not fair at all.
Do you want to take a look at the roster as it's presently constructed and kind of workshop, like, all right, TJ Otzelberger calls Dylan and says, look, we got to figure out what to do for these first 2 months of the year while we don't have Torre. Like, Dylan, what should we do? Do you want to go over that, or do you want to talk about maybe what might happen next if we try and get a fifth-year guy on the team?
I think let's look at the roster first because even when Torre was healthy, I think you can look at this roster and be like, hey, I think we're missing something. But I think when we just look at it in full here, so I think there's two starters right there, and Singleton and Bateman. And
Bateman, we got to work on our headshot, man. That's
tough.
it's
Got
not
to
great.
find. I know the barber scene in Ames is not great, but that's a little tough. I think Leon Bond probably starts at him and Bateman, I think, will be the two wings that start for us. And then Yusuf Gray is kind of like the one freshman, I think, that could kind of make an impact. I really like Wiggins too, but he got hurt as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Dylan, you're in the society, right? Taj Manning?
Yeah, the proud society of Taj Manning. He's just
Was he the the assist to turnover king in the offseason?
Keeney, you have to assume that just meant he never turned it over, right? Like he probably had like 2 assists and 0 turnovers.
I don't know. Maybe he's got a little more game than we're giving him credit for. All right,
Point guard Tosh
let's
Manning.
let's get to our guy here, because I think this
Yeah.
this is kind of who we're looking at as a potential to step up in the spot. Jaquan Johnson, transfer from Bradley. He's listed at 5'11" in the program. I'm not sure if he stands all at 5'11", but
5'11" and
216.
high tops.
Everything they say about this guy. All right, we got a comment here too. Yusuf Gray is a guy that could potentially step up. You talked about that freshman. Gosh, I forgot about Wiggins too. Like we're dealing with 2 injuries when the season hadn't even started yet.
Yeah.
Let's talk to Jaquan Johnson though. So, how do you feel? I would assume that Jaquan here is going to be the guy that maybe steps into the starting lineup while Toure is out. Were you watching a lot of Bradley last year? I know you like the Missouri Valley, but
I do.
were you watching his game?
I am a Missouri Valley enjoyer. Bradley was actually kind of down last year. They've been kind of a top contender with Drake for the last couple of years here. You and I obviously won the tournament last year, but I probably watched less Bradley than I have in like the last 3 years. But I mean, again, like you're gonna have an easy time talking me into a guy's who his nickname is Bully, and I think 5'11" might be a little generous, but they released that video of them playing baseball, and it looked like muddy as hell, and he looks like a cartoon. Like his proportions do not make. I mean, he is a brick shit house. Like he could be a wrestler. He could be a college running back by the looks of him. Like he could play. If you just saw that guy on campus, I would probably guess 3 or 4 different sports before I would think point guard and basketball. But he's got game, and like I would have obviously liked him in kind of that backup point guard role because again, and this is going to be true of a lot of the team. And I'm not just picking on Jaquan Johnson, but like defense obviously comes before offense with him. And that is true of basically everybody except maybe Bateman and maybe Buchanan. But both those guys are really good defenders too. So, I mean, we're a lot of defense. It's a lot of defense. I don't think the offense will be as abysmal as like the first 2 years under Otts, but we don't have the same upside on offense as we have had in the past couple years. The Valley, I could pull up Ken Palm. I think there was like a 4 or 5 way tie at third. Like there was not a lot of separation, I feel, last year because you and I was a 6 seed, and I think they had the same record as the 3 seed in conference.
I think they were like the top ranked team in Ken Palm.
Okay,
and they finished like 6th in the conference last year. You and I did.
Yeah, see, like it was a weird Valley year last year.
You get to the stats on Jaquan Johnson, though. I think he averaged close to like 17 points a game. Like he was a really good player at Bradley. Not going to be probably not. He might even have a little bit more offensive ceiling than like Toure does right now. As a guy that can do a little bit. I think he can do more scoring. Yeah,
getting downhill. I mean, his body is built to get downhill. Like that guy is going to absorb contact and be able to finish through really tough. I mean, the one thing that does concern me, Keeney, is the spacing, though. I mean, how soon our defense is going to find out, hey, this team can't shoot. We're going to put 3 guys under the basket and just kind of dare them to drive in. Because I think we'll have a lot of – Leon Bond is a guy that wants to get downhill and get past his guy on the perimeter. And he'll be more off ball, obviously. I mean, he's going to be doing that cutting and slashing. But I think it could be tough offensively. And that's kind of what you're saying with Toure, where like you want to see him make that jump. Because if he could even be at like Taman's offensive proficient, like at his level, his junior and senior year, Taman was really good on offense his sophomore year too. But like you just need somebody, and it could be Singleton. Buchanan could make a leap. I mean, like he's in the same position as Toure and Bateman too, where he has that his first summer in Ames as well. So like we could see leaps from other places, but man, it really felt like Killian was kind of the guy where it was like, hey, it's going to be him.
Yeah. So I'm just looking at some Johnson stats, 16.9 points per game last year. Here's what you're probably going to like. 38% 3-point shooter. That's significantly better than Toure.
How many attempts does that?
It looks like about 4 attempts a game. I mean, okay. That's doable, Yep. I think that should translate. I mean, shooting should translate no matter what level you're playing at. 2.5 steals per game, which I'm pretty
Love
sure
that.
led the
Love
yeah,
that.
pretty sure that led the Valley. 78% free throw shooter. He was the defensive player of the year in the Valley last year. So
Yeah.
he's a good ball player. Good ball player. I think people are going to
How
look
many
at the size and think
assists?
like assists. We've got 3.5.
Okay.
Like, you can work with that.
Yeah. You sure can. And like, I think he's going to be a fan favorite. I think he's going to be. Ooh, I kind of love that take.
You do? Oh my gosh. I don't know.
I was a Prentice Nixon supporter, and I was really the whole time. If he could have got his 3-point shot figured out, he was a good player. He just couldn't. He couldn't
Well,
shoot at
he's
all.
also on a terrible team. So
Yeah.
I don't think it mattered if you figured out his shot.
I was a believer in Prentice Nixon until the very end.
You might have been the only one.
And then
All right.
didn't he win like the Finnish MVP in Finland? It was
I
Finland or
have,
Sweden. He won an MVP in some league, which is crazy.
that means
Also,
I gotta
I
look.
think we have to
That means I have to look it
understand
up.
that like playing for Prom, you probably looked like you were already kind of handicapped at you were going to be at best like 80% of the player you are. Halliburton is like a first team, second team All NBA guy, and he was just like a solid player at Iowa State. So I think like a lot of guys looked worse than they actually were when they played for Prom.
Let's see. It looks like Prentice Nixon. I don't know. He's on some UK website. Sheffield Sharks fan favorite moves on as they dip toe in Oceania. So maybe he played for the Sheffield Sharks. Are you keeping up with a lot of British basketball league?
I wish I was Keeney, and maybe I need to start. Quite honestly,
As the Prentice Nixon enjoyer believer here on this show, yeah, you might want to check that out a little bit. Although that wasn't really conclusive about where he's playing now. Also, didn't say anything about him winning an MVP in any league.
I'm gonna
So if
I'm almost solid.
if we're gonna if we got to downsize with Johnson a little bit at that point guard spot, would you do anything else with rotations? Would you be wanting to experiment with like the two big lineup and having Plata and Buchanan play together?
I mean, yeah, we're obviously like we're short on guards, and like the way college basketball is moving, you look at a team like Florida, they're playing a 3 big lineup, and they have two really versatile bigs in Condon and Ha, and Chinyalu's more of like the standard big man there. But like in Michigan last year, they had 3 guys that were like over 6'8", and obviously Yaxel Lendenberg is like a kind of one of one player, but like there's nothing wrong with increasing in size. Like the more tall, long, strong, big dudes you put out there, that has kind of been the recipe for like your national championship contenders. Even like your Dukes, your Houstons, the teams that are making the Final Fours but aren't getting all the way there, their front courts are insane. Like there's so much talent in the front courts at the top of college basketball right now. And I mean, like Joshua Jefferson is obviously the best front court player that TJ has had, but I think it's almost more about like you need more than one horse. Like you need multiple guys to throw at the glass. I mean, we got killed by Tennessee, and they weren't necessarily a good team. They just had a shit ton of big dudes. Like it was literally like you were watching a 7th grade team play guys that were like juniors and seniors in high school is how that felt. So I wouldn't mind. I mean, the spacing just at some point becomes really scary, but like, could you put Buchanan, Plata, and Singleton out there all at the same time? I don't know.
That's interesting. I don't know what kind of shooter Singleton is. We've heard rumblings about Plata trying to have a 3-point shot as part of his game.
Right. And like I don't know. Like he kind of has that stretch big body Plata does that a lot of those European guys have. So I could see it, but I mean, yeah, you're really asking a lot out of Bateman at that point to space the floor because
well, maybe we just go all defense and we go Bully and then Leon Bond, Singleton, Plata, Buchanan, and we just be as big as possible.
That would be insane. That truly would be. I mean, that's like 98 defense, maybe like 35 offense.
Well, and we have assistant turnover king Taj Manning that
Yeah.
could actually run points. So there you go. We got a
Right.
fifth guy out there, all size, all size. All right, let's hit the. I mean, it's the elephant in the room. Taman Lipsey. Do you try and bring him back if he's willing to do it? Like, are you willing to roll the dice with all this eligibility nonsense that's going on right now?
I do. Someone just commented, I'd love to play like the Bad Boy Pistons. That's like legitimately my favorite NBA team. Maybe outside of like the 2008 Celtics,
It's
which are
sickening.
also.
I mean, you love bad basketball, man. It's just like a Dylan trade, You just don't like good basketball.
TJ literally came in and said, "How can I appease Dylan's view of basketball?" And he did it to like the best you could ever do it. It's insane. When I just
I
like
gotta imagine the 2022 team is just like your favorite basketball team of all time.
it's up there, man. Just grinders. Like all they did was like putting up 48 points on Jackson State. Incredible. No notes. But Taman, so yeah, I think if that phone call hasn't already been made, you have to make the call. And I think the only thing, a lot of these players that we have already seen come back, I don't know how many of them off the top of my head had like an exhibit 10 even. I doubt any of them had a two-way. Because short term, a lot of these players for 1 year at least are probably going to make more in college than they would in the G League or like overseas. So for 1 year, if you're going for the cash grab, sure. And maybe that like a lot of these guys, their professional ceiling at this point, if you're a 25, 26-year-old and you're still playing college basketball, you're probably not poised for a long-term NBA career as it is. So, but Taman is kind of right on the fringe where played in summer league, like super unfortunately got hurt, just in like heartbreaking Taman fashion and sat out like half the summer league games. But I think he's a guy kind of like Jamal Shed, who I think probably played like 15 minutes a game for the Raptors last year. Like, could he carve out something like that in the NBA? Maybe. And does coming back to college hurt those chances? Probably. And I think the biggest thing is security. Like, if you can't guarantee me that I can play college basketball next year with this stuff that's moving through the courts, that is such a risky thing to do, especially when you know you have, I mean, albeit basically the lowest tier of contract in the NBA, but you have something. You have a meal ticket, basically. Like, you're going to make a roster. And if you take this chance and you do come back to Iowa State just for some judge in fucking Louisiana to be like, no one can do it. And then, like, I don't know. Like, I think there needs to be some kind of federal national guideline of, hey, we're doing this or we're not. And I just want that to be, I don't even care which one it is at this point. I feel bad for the guys that have already made that decision to come back because it obviously screws them, but it's so messy right now. And I wouldn't feel, as an Iowa State fan, I would love Taman to come back. He's probably my favorite Iowa State point guard of all time. But someone looking for like the best interest in Taman, I don't know if it's like great advice for him to come back to college basketball right now. So that's kind of where I'm at with it.
We are seeing attempts by the conferences to police this a little bit by saying, so like for anybody that maybe hasn't seen, the SEC and the Big Ten are in the process of passing rules that basically say if you have signed an NFL contract or been on an NFL roster, if you've been on an NBA roster or an NBA contract, WNBA, same thing. If you've ever been in that situation, you are no longer eligible to play college sports, which is going to screw LSU over, which is kind of cool. But
right.
I don't know if Taman has actually signed an NBA contract. So I don't know if this would actually apply to him yet. But I do, obviously, I mean, so the thing that really bothers me about all this is just like, I mean, just it's not good for the health of college sports. It's really obvious take here, but I really am bothered by the idea of the basketball season starting in 2 months, and we've got guys being added to rosters and making a ton of money, and guys who are going to like be expected to come in and be like the leading scorer. Like St. John's just signed Keyshawn Hall from Auburn, who scored 19 points a game last year. Like it's just a free roll, you know. You just get to add guys. Like Kentucky got to do the same thing because they struck out in the portal the first time around. I know the Momcilovic situation was kind of unique, but like just signed Mark Mitchell, who was an all SEC player at Missouri and decided to come back. And it's August 25th, and they're still adding people to the roster. Football trying to do this. We're going to talk about it. We're a week and a half away from the football season starting, and we've got guys on NFL waiver wires looking to come back and play college football this fall. I think that's ridiculous. At some point, we got to draw the line somewhere, and maybe it's just if you're not on the team by July 1st, too bad.
There needs to be a hard deadline, like a portal deadline. You can't add players because it's not good for the teams. Like it's not good to bring your leading scorer in 4 months after all these guys have already been together. And Taman's obviously a different situation. He's played with almost all these guys on this team, so I think that would be a slightly different. It's not like you're bringing in some guy that nobody's ever talked to, or maybe like new in the AAU circuit or whatever.
Taman would be like the perfect kind of guy that could do this because one, I think he's an extremely unselfish basketball player and would be willing to take on any role if he decided to come back. Two, he knows a lot of these guys. He played at Iowa State last year, and like he actually cares about the school. He's not a mercenary who's getting paid $5 million to show up for 2 months, 3 months, and then move on. So it's a different story than like LSU finding a judge who will allow RJ Luis Jr., who gave up the rest of his eligibility to come back and play again, and doesn't know anybody on LSU, has never met anybody on LSU, but all of a sudden he's eligible to play for LSU. Like, it's entirely different situation. But
and then the other thing you have to consider is at a roster standpoint, there's almost a redundancy then, because I think as of now, Taman, Toure, and Johnson are all fairly similar players that are all really good at the things they do, but I don't know if you need 3 of them. I'd take 2 of them. I'll take 2 of them on every roster for the rest of my life. But, I mean, you have such a physical presence in Taman and Killian, and then I think you brought in Johnson to kind of not replace Taman, but to have that same kind of oomph. I don't know if you need 3 of those guys. I truly don't know if it makes sense from like a roster standpoint for all 3 of those guys to be on the same team.
All right, we got a comment from Jason here. I don't see conferences being able to overturn a court order. See, that's the thing is I think it's great that the SEC and the Big Ten and maybe the Big 12 and ACC are going to make rules about this, but is it enforceable? The other thing I don't understand is what does a judge in Colorado, I think, was the one that issued the wide injunction that said anybody can play anywhere. Like, what do they get out of this?
I would love to find out who that is and be like, how much college basketball did you watch last year? Like, why the hell is some random dude in Colorado the end all be all? Like, do you understand the Pandora's box? Like, do you understand what you're like the implications of what you're about to do? It's maddening. And then how do you put it all? It goes back to NIL. The way the NCAA rolled out NIL was a complete and utter joke. And I think players should be compensated for their worth. And I think it took too long for the NCAA to do that. But then for the NCAA to just give up and be like, fine, whatever, we're going to put no stipulations and guidelines because it's all been stripped away from us. Do whatever you want. I mean, it just totally screwed college sports for at least a decade.
We got misogynist Dylan over here. It was actually a lady judge that issued the injunction. So
how much college basketball did she watch?
Check yourself, Dylan, a little bit.
Was she watching UC San Diego at 1 a.m. like I was? I doubt it. And if she was, sue me. Sue me.
So just if anybody doesn't know, right now, Iowa State has 14 players on their roster, and they can roster 15 guys. And Toure is one of those guys that's injured, so he is still on the roster. We still have one spot. We could add a player if that's a route that we decided to try and explore. So,
And it comes from Jackson Kiss, right? He kind of at the last second decommitted, and we never filled that spot. So we have a kind of an open rotating spot right now as it is.
okay. It's kind of an interesting comment here. Just because Taman had an injury doesn't mean we have to act like this is a good idea. So here's kind of I don't think it's a good idea to add potentially, like in a hypothetical, add Taman Lipsy to the roster. I kind of see where you're coming from, because I mean, what we know about TJ is he likes to get things done, and he likes to, start working on the next season without having any of the distractions of this. So that's why Milan's not on the team now.
Right.
I think Taman's kind of a unique case. Like if it's some other player that's in the portal right now that played at, I don't know, Virginia Tech or something last year, like I think it'd be an entirely different story.
And some people are asking, like, who are some other names? And I don't have a list in front of me, but I think what this team needs is another shooter. I would love another, 40%, probably at least on like 5 attempts a game. Like just sit still shooter, guard. Don't even really need to be good at defense, because I think this team already has that in spades. I mean, like, we were just throwing out names like, I mean, take your pick of the litter. Any 6'4" white guy who has a laser beam on his shoulder and can knock down threes would gladly take any of those. Like, we don't need someone who is going to be our leading scorer. I think this team is just going to need spacing so damn bad. We've had bad spacing with good TJ teams, and like we're going to really need it with this team. So someone who can stretch the floor, I think, is kind of the. But like you said, Keenan, it wouldn't shock me. TJ, like, I think you also gain a lot just strictly through continuity. These guys have been with each other since literally the first week of the portal. They got them all in one go, said, that's it, we're done. And not a lot of teams did that. I like, especially at the level Iowa State's going to be. So there is something like addition by subtraction, and just not adding anybody and wall the ball out there. You're going to get a team that works super hard. You're going to have a top 10 defense. Like you're going to be all right. I expect Iowa State to be a top 25 team throughout the season as is, even with this Toure injury. But I would like some spacing.
All right, we've got to get to football at this point, I think.
Sure.
But
sure.
Are you ready for this, Dylan? It's your favorite thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna get some heat. I feel like I'll try to toe that line, Keeney.
Are you really? Okay. I mean, first off, Dylan, we might not have heard as much from you this summer about Iowa State football with Jimmy Rogers as the head coach this year. I mean, he's a jackrabbit. You should love this guy. Yeah. But all right, let's not beat around the bush. You're a little bit pessimistic on the outlook for the team this year.
Yeah. I think
explain yourself.
Sure, especially in the Slack. And I will say I'm not completely alone on this hill, Keeney. There have been people that have kind of like been on my side in the Slack here. I think the most rational take to have is we have no idea. It's ridiculous to say with really any inkling what is going to happen. We have 80 new players. We have a brand new staff. We have a brand new playbook. Like, there's just truly so many unknowns. And it's so hard to build a team. Yeah. Sorry, man. Like, build a team from scratch. And he did a really solid job at that at Washington State. And Keeney, I can't tell you how shocked I was when I learned Washington State last year had a better strength of schedule than we did. That about made me fall out of my chair. Washington State played, just like I was looking at it, I think Colorado State, Louisiana Tech, Oregon State twice. The Pac-2 sticking together.
The Pac-2 round robin.
So like I just like when I saw their wins, and like what Levi keeps saying is they had good close losses. Keeney,
that is true.
If you were around in 2021, how good did close losses make this fan base feel? Because that team was the GOAT at close losses.
There's a difference there. and that the 2021 team was supposed to win all those games, and Washington
Sure,
State was supposed to get blown out in all those games.
but the result is the same. And I'm a results guy, Keeney. I like winners.
Okay.
And like I was equal. Like I'm still super frustrated about that 2021 team, obviously. But like I think it's a little unfair to be like, look how close they were to beating these teams when this is a fan base that has like become so sick of Matt Campbell's winning the margins when we consistently lost by 3 or 4 or 2 or 1 point. So like I truly think the best thing to have is no expectations. Like I don't want him to be like he should be able to win or lose how many ever games this season and not have it impact any real talk about firing him. Like it's just impossible right now to expect this guy. Like Matt Campbell's first year was bad. It was not a good first season under Matt Campbell. And like, I don't think things have gotten easier. I think there's more guys in the portal, but it's not like we have a line out the door for them to come to Iowa State still. So I think some of it is like self-awareness. Matt Campbell took us to heights that we had never seen. Obviously, the national writers, and they're stupid. I'm not going to really defend them, but it's not like we changed anybody's mind on a national scale that Iowa State should now somehow be this respected brand because they're throwing us in like the hundreds, man. It's getting ugly out there.
Yeah,
So
I will say, yes, there's no expectations, but I will say this conclusively. We're not going to be worse than like Kennesaw State this year.
yeah, you're right.
We're going to be better than Washington State this year.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty fair to say that right now. Now, in the content game, Dylan, we're not allowed to just say, hey, wins and losses, who cares? We've got to do a little predicting here. So
Sure.
since I've got you, we're going to run through the schedule quick. I mean, everybody's doing it. So I just want to get Dylan's on the record here. What do you think is going to happen? So, I mean, we just start right at the beginning. Southeast Missouri State. Tell me you think we're going to beat SEMO.
We'll be down by 3 at halftime. We win.
Okay.
So here's another thing to remember. The first game that I ever, and it was so cool to be able to be up in the press box. Like the first year I was with the company formerly known as Wide Right Natty Light. My first game up there, can I say that out loud? Am I going to get sued? It was Iowa State UNI, and Brock Purdy's like extendo reach to save our ass against UNI. And I'm guessing UNI is better than SEMO. I'll be honest, I haven't done a deep scouting report on SEMO. But like, let's not. I don't know. I like it. Would you be shocked if we're down at halftime to SEMO?
I would. I think SEMO is a really bad FCS team. I don't think much of them.
Research on that.
The thing that I think we can say another thing we can say pretty conclusively about Iowa State this year is the defense is going to be pretty good. I don't see us giving up a lot of points to SEMO. So
did you see how much points they were giving up to like Washington State last year? That was another thing that really shocked me because I've heard how good this defense is going to be and how good Jimmy Rogers is defensively. They like gave up 59 points in back-to-back games. That like,
for what it's worth, we're favored by 29.5 points against SEMO.
I've seen dumber things happen in college football. That's all I'll say.
All right. Well, I mean, we're going to beat SEMO. So Cyhawk, I would love nothing more than to win this game. Dylan, I know you're going to predict a loss here.
Yeah.
How much do you want to get into this one?
I would say this is what I'll say. Being in Iowa City 2 years ago, when Conradi just completely deflated the hell out of that stadium, is probably a top 5 sports moment, especially live. The sound of that stadium is like what I hear in my dreams. I'm
getting word that North Texas game, Washington State had 8 turnovers.
So this was also brought up in the chat today. I don't know how many interceptions Rayner threw last year, but it was more than I would have liked out of the quarterback that we brought in. So I don't know if we'll be like a super We might turn the ball over more than we'll like. Hopefully not 8 times. 8 times is crazy.
I think
And I
we're going to
think,
run the ball a lot, so
yeah,
we'll hopefully not have to worry as much about that.
and hopefully
Um,
he'll run the ball a lot too, because he's really good at running.
I'm of the mind that the Cyhawk game is going to be much closer than people are expecting it to be. So like,
It always is close. I mean, it's been a long time. Like, I know Matt got blown out in his first year, but that game rarely makes sense on paper. No matter what you think going into that game, it looks the same every year. It's ugly. It's decided by a single possession. So, but I don't know. It's gonna be. I'll have a really hard time predicting a win against Iowa this year. I'm gonna say we
yeah,
lose that one.
I also think we're going to lose the game, but I do think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a barn burner. I really do. I just we've heard a lot about the Iowa quarterback situation. They don't have a quarterback. They just
They
don't.
never do.
So,
They never do, Keeney, and it doesn't
but
matter.
no, but this is different. They don't have guys who have even taken snaps. I don't.
Do they need to?
I mean, I think so. Normally they have these just statues that stand back there and overthrow receivers, but like at least Spencer Petras had a lot of reps.
Yeah. I don't know. I could play quarterback at Iowa and win 4 games.
We're not gonna be David Eichel. I'm just gonna call you out by name. You know, I'm sure you're predicting like a 59-0 win for Iowa. That's not gonna fucking happen. It's
Right.
gonna be a close-ish football game. Like, I think 17-10. You know,
Sure.
20-13. I don't see a world where Iowa scores a ton of points on us.
Yeah. I don't know who
So
does the scoring. I mean, that's the case unless they have like 3
I don't think
defensive
Iowa State's
touchdowns.
going to score a lot, right? But I don't see Iowa. I don't see Iowa, getting into the 30s against us because they're not going to learn anything about themselves in the Northern Illinois game either.
Yeah. I want to throw a disclaimer out here. I really know my stuff with college basketball. I would say at best, especially outside of Iowa State, I'm a casual college football fan. So if you're looking for like really deep insight on the teams on Iowa State's schedule, I'm unfortunately not that guy. Just a blanket statement for what is about to happen going forward.
Okay. All right. Well, are we going to beat Bowling Green?
Keeney, I will say a lot of good teams lose to MAC teams.
Dylan, we're gonna beat Bowling Green. I'm gonna bully you into picking us to win that one.
Are the 2 auto wins I feel like and maybe West Virginia is really bad, right?
They are. They're probably pretty close to what we're gonna be, to be honest.
Okay. Well,
they have a ton of roster turnover this year, so I mean, we can maybe we're 2-1. We can probably skip over that. We can probably skip over the Utah game. I'm assuming you're going to predict a loss to Utah.
Loss. Yeah.
I've also got us losing to Utah. So we both have ourselves at 2-2. West Virginia is at home. I think this is a must-win game for Iowa State if they're going to have a chance at bowling this year. I think we got to take care of business against West Virginia. And I think that's a game we can win. That's a game I'm going to pick us to win.
I think the start of the season is so important too. Like if these guys lose a lot early, I think it's gonna be hard to keep them bought in. And maybe they can, but a lot of these guys, like it's not like they've been with this program through the tough times and the good times. Like a lot of these guys are brand new. Like they're getting used to Ames. They've never been to Iowa before. Some of them, so you really hope you got to win early. And yeah, I would say West Virginia is like, if we don't win that one, I'm hitting the panic button.
Okay. So I'm going to have you down as a win. 2. So both of us are 3-2, same result through the first 5 games. At BYU, Dylan, BYU is going to be good. I don't think this is a game that's going to go well for Iowa State at all.
I hate them so much though, Keeney. I hate them.
It's a short week. It's a Friday night. They're going to be really good. I'm predicting a loss at BYU, as is everybody else.
If we go 1-11, let the 1 win be against BYU. But
Dylan, I'm going to need you to retract that because it'd be way funnier if the win was Iowa.
That is true. And what if if they're 1 win away from the playoff somehow? They go like 10-2, but they have such a bad loss they don't get into the playoff.
We anti-crumble cookies around here. Dylan,
Yeah, no kidding.
what's your least favorite BYU memory? Is
A
it
lot.
like
That's certainly one of them. Honestly, senior night 2 years ago, I think it was Curtis and Keyshawn senior night. Hilton was unbelievable that night. That Hilton was probably worth 15 points that night, and BYU still beat us.
is that the night that Richie Saunders just went ballistic? I think
Yep,
he had a great game.
yep. I hate that guy for the rest of my life. The other guy I hate for the rest of my life, the Egyptian magician Ali Khalifa, who just like his passing, I think it was in Provo, just ripped us apart. And then he went to Louisville to play for our guy Pat Kelsey and never did a damn thing.
That's right.
Uh, so
I think Kevin Keita is my guy that I can't stand just because of how much he just bullied us as an athlete.
see, I would move mountains to get that guy in a Cyclone uniform. That is the exact post player that I don't even know if you call him a post. He's just an athlete.
I think the thing with him is he's just redundant with Blake Buchanan. Like we have Kevin Keita just better. I think Blake Buchanan's a better player.
A more polished.
All right. So we're 3-3. We lose at BYU. At Arizona is the next game. Arizona they've got reasonable expectations coming into this year. They had a great year last year. I'm going to this game. I'm going to Tucson. I'm excited to see it, but I don't think Iowa State's going to win the game. Like I think CW and Hassel. I think CW had us as like anywhere from like a 10 to 14 point underdog in this game. I think we're going to lose at Arizona.
I'll take a loss here. What's the most? Is it Iowa? Is that the most likely winnable road game? Just because of
we're going to get into a couple more here in the back half of the schedule. So here's the pivot point of the season is when we play Oklahoma State at home on Halloween. So Oklahoma State also has a new coach. It's North Texas's coach. He brought over the offense. Everybody loves him. But I think this is a game that Iowa State can win. I'm picking Iowa State to beat Oklahoma State at home. This is where I'm going to go out on a limb a little bit here.
The same guy that put up 59 points is at Oklahoma State, and now he's playing the same guy that's at Iowa State?
It's a different story. And by the way, they don't defend anybody. So our defense, if we don't turn it over 8 times and we have a slightly better day defensively, I think we'll score on them. I think it's a winnable game. I really do. I'm predicting an Iowa State win here. So I'm putting us at 4-4. I think this is the one where we surprise guys.
I think this is where my pessimism shows. I'm going to take a sad loss here, Keeney.
Okay, so now I've got Iowa State at 4-4. Dylan's got us at 3-5. Here's your winnable road games. At Baylor is next, and this could be an extremely checked out Baylor who is on the verge of firing their coach. Maybe they've already fired their coach at this point. I'm still going to predict a loss here because I don't feel like Iowa State ever plays particularly great down in Waco. But Baylor is they'll probably be like a 6-point favorite in that game, something like that. They're going to be a little bit better than we are, and they're at home.
Yeah, I'm going to take Baylor. A lot of this is just like it's going to be hard for this team to win on the road, I think. Yeah, I think my nightmare, Keeney, is Aranda gets fired the game before.
Oh, you think this could be an interim bump game?
Because you are the king of interim bumps. I mean, that might be the safest bet Vegas ever puts out is coach just gets fired, team rallies behind the interim head coach. They beat the next team no matter what, every single time. A tale as old as time.
I'm gonna get my Windhorse fingers up here. You know, we'll be on the we're gonna monitor the situation.
Circle back to that.
Yeah, yep. But like I said, I'm also predicting a loss to Baylor. I actually don't see us. I think we'll actually be okay on the road just because of the style of play we're going to have. I think defense travels. And what I think is going to happen is Iowa State is going to get better as the season goes on because at the beginning, like we're a completely new team. We're not in a position where we're going to go to Iowa and play Utah at home. Those are two extremely physical football teams. We're not going to be in a position in September where we're meshing and ready to like go win those games. I don't think, but we get later in the year. We've played together for 8 games. We're playing worse teams in the Big 12 now. Like I think we'll pick off a road game somewhere. Dylan, tell me, we're playing Cincinnati at home. That's our 10th game of the year. You've got us now at 3-6. I've got us at 4-5. Dylan, come on.
I mean, if you don't beat Cincinnati, it's getting real bleak.
Cincinnati is also a sneaky, could be firing their coach at this point of the season. They are a Big 12 team that could seemingly be worse than we are. And I'm picking us to beat Cincinnati.
Hot take from Jackson Pence. I did not. That might be take of the year. Early candidate.
So, Dylan, come on. We're going to beat Cincinnati, right? You can give us that
What is it? That gets me at where I'm at 4 and 6.
That's 4-6 if we beat Cincy.
You can talk me into 4 and 6. Please beat Cincy.
I've got us at 5 and 5. Dylan's got us at 4 and 6. I love doing this with you because I think the comments are kind of mad at you right now.
I think
about it, you predicting losses, even though we're only one game apart. All right, at UCF is next, and I don't think UCF is going to be any good at all. Here's my other hot take. I think we're going to win that game. I think we're going to go down to UCF and win because I'm just not a Scott Frost believer at all. I think he could be a 2 and done. So I waffled on this for most of the offseason. I didn't want to do it, but I think we can get to 6. I think we're going to beat UCF and get a 6th win.
What I'm scared about, and we already talked about it, if this team loses like tough games early, like games that they're in, and we think that they will be because the defense is good, I think it'll be a lot of games, hopefully at least, decided by single possession. But if they lose some backbreakers, I don't know. How bad is UCF going to be?
I don't think they're going to be any good at all.
This also kind of hurts. I feel like the Big 12 it's getting kind of sad out here, Keeney, in football.
Wow. Okay. I mean, I don't love that UCF is in the Big 12. I will say.
And like you're talking about some of the head coaches that we have in this conference now, and I'm like, man, Scott Frost was really bad at Nebraska, Keeney. Like I'm talking, he was like basically chased out of that city, and he like was a beloved player there. Like he couldn't have had a worse experience at Nebraska, and then UCF just took him right back. Woof. I'm gonna say loss. I'm so sorry.
4 and 7, Dylan. All right. 7. Well, how about Kansas State at home?
I've seen this too many times, Keeney.
You're picking a loss, or you think we're gonna go 4 and 8?
Yeah.
It wouldn't feel right if I picked 7 wins. It really wouldn't. So I'm going to predict a loss at home to Kansas State to end the year. I've got us at 6 and 6. I think I genuinely believe that this team is going to play good defense and get better as the year goes on. So I think Dylan, you kind of talked about it. The Big 12 is kind of sad. I mean, Cincinnati, Baylor, UCF, Kansas State, that's our last 4 games. There's opportunity there. If we get better in the way that I think we will, then yeah, I think we get to 6 wins. I think it's very realistic.
Would you rather have had, because it kind of feels like we have a front-loaded schedule. You think that's a good thing or a bad thing? Because I feel like I can be talked into either. Because I think, like you said, hopefully this team gets better throughout the year. So you'd kind of like to play those lesser teams at the end of the season. But also, if we just get our faces pushed into the ground like 3 weeks in a row by some of the best teams in the Big 12, how much are we going to have left in the tank by the time it gets to the end of the year?
It's really good question. I almost like it here because you get those measuring stick games right at the start. You know, you're going to find out how far apart you are when you play in Kinnick and then you play Utah at home. So
can you throw a comment? Because I'm offended.
Now, Dylan is a football pessimist. He is not picking us to lose basketball games at Hilton. No. There's just no way.
I'm still pretty sure we're going to beat Arizona in Tucson when they have Caleb Love. I'm pretty sure we're going to win that game, Keeney. You can't talk me out of it. On paper. Yeah.
Jackson, that's offensive. It really is.
Yeah, that's messed up, man.
We've got a Hawkeye fan watching the show, by the way, and I'd love to. I appreciate you watching. I'm kind of curious why. Maybe you just saw that we're going to predict like the Cyhawk game, but pretty confident we're not bowling. Look, here's the thing. Who knows? We're going to find out.
And that's the beautiful thing about not having expectations. My expectations are so low, a bowl game will feel like a national championship for me. Like that,
I
if we
really
go
wanted to come
6-6,
on here
I'll
and
throw a
pick 5 and
goddamn parade.
7, but I've kind of talked myself into I think we can get the 6 wins based on good defense and a weak back half of the schedule. As
Yeah.
the team gets better, they're playing worse teams. I think we can get there. Jackson Pence, my dog, I much appreciated.
Bang!
This is I think Hecklinski would be like third string here. He really would. And then we're going to play Memphis in the Liberty Bowl. Thank you, Donnie.
Book your hotel now. It'll be raining ice. It'll be 70% Memphis fans in that ugly stadium. Woof.
Dylan, are you going to watch any football this weekend for week 0?
I think probably just because I'm itching to watch sports. I'm not a baseball guy at all, so I haven't watched. I watched quite a bit of FIFA over the summer. I really did, Keeney. I kind of got into it. But man, I haven't watched like an organized sport game in probably over a month. So I'm gonna watch it just strictly off of like I need it.
Is there anything about the week 0 slate that's really calling out to you? Like games that you're like, okay, this one could be kind of fun. I'm excited to tune into this one.
I think just for the memes, TCU North Carolina could be funny.
This is definitely the one. Yeah.
Just to see Bill Belichick, like hopefully it's raining like it was when Iowa State and Kansas State played. I would just love to see like a super pissed off Bill Belichick in that stadium getting rained on as TCU just runs up the score on his dog water team.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and give you the little primer here, Dylan. So I think you're right. TCU North Carolina is going to be really fun. TCU might be sneaky pretty good. That's a Big 12 team that you should keep an eye on. Their quarterback is actually a transfer from Harvard.
Wow.
So a little FCS flavor. Good player there. I think they're going to be pretty good. I think they'll be feisty. San Jose State and USC, nothing there. NC State and Virginia, I think, will be a fun game between two teams that might finish 5th and 6th in the ACC. So that's just kind of a fun like way to ease your way into the season. Watch a couple of that.
Sure.
Those teams going at each other. Okay, North Dakota State is in the FBS now. Did you know that?
I did. Good thing for my bunnies. Like it does kind of suck because South Dakota State, North Dakota State is such an awesome rivalry. I mean, the heat on that game, and South Dakota State and South Dakota have a great rivalry too. But yeah, I hope they lose. I think it'd be really funny if they lost their first FBS game.
So I think they're gonna win for what it's worth. We're not talking gambling on this show, but I think they're gonna be really good.
I can't read it. Or what's the line?
It is North Dakota State -7. So there's something in the neighborhood of a touchdown favorite.
Okay.
Did you know that Sacramento State is in the FBS now?
I do, and don't they have like very famous people kind of running the show, right? Isn't there?
No idea. Couldn't tell you.
I feel like they have former NFL players like in some sort of leadership role at Sacramento State. It's not head coach, but it's like the GM stuff that they're doing or like whatever the hell that is. They have some big name at Sacramento State. But I'm not going to watch that game. I'm not that sick.
I don't think I'd recommend you watching that game. That's not going to make you excited for more football.
Yeah, pass.
Hawaii at Stanford could be kind of fun.
What time does that game kick off?
That is 6:00 on the ACC network. Classic Stanford ACC football.
Yep.
Playing Hawaii.
Nothing screams ACC football like Stanford Cardinal. I would much rather watch that game if it was kicking off at like 11 p.m. local time, but
yeah, that needs to be on the islands.
Yeah. I want to like wake up like after 2 hours of sleep and it's the third quarter of Hawaii Stanford and then I talk myself into watching the rest of it. Oh, I think that's what I'm thinking of, Jackson.
So Shaq is the GM of the Sacramento State basketball team. He's not doing any work. I promise you that.
Let me be a GM. Do you want to know who will sit in a dark room and watch just the strangest college basketball and be able to tell you who you need on your transfer portal list? It's me.
I think you could be
fool.
I think you could identify talent. I think you could be a mid-major GM because like
if
power
Shaq
conference, you got to have money.
State.
But like if you're like in the Summit League, Dylan, I think you could actually identify talent pretty good that would translate from the portal. So
I would love that job. That truly is my dream job.
Austin Dyer, our Hawk fan who is watching the show, says he's on paternity leave and running out of things to watch. So I appreciate you watching, and congrats.
Congrats.
Memphis UNLV, that's just going to be stupid fun. That's Saturday night late. Couple teams that have a reputation for scoring a lot of points and not playing a lot of defense. I think that'll be a fun game to watch.
Yeah, classic nonsense game. I'll watch that one.
All right, Dylan. I've got one more thing on our agenda that I told you about before we started the show. So it's a Dylan episode of the Litecast, which means we gotta have a Brooklyn Nets minute.
We need like an animation for the Brooklyn Nets minute on the Litecast.
We're working on that one.
Okay.
When I say we, I don't know who is. We'll work on something.
Somebody in the zeitgeist.
I am Jackson. I'm still monitoring the situation. I think I'm going to take the under in the North Carolina TCU game, and pretty sure I like USC to just blow out San Jose State. Those are probably the two that I'm most confident in right now. Trying to see any other comments I wanted to hit before we get to. Oh, by the way, here's another thing in Iowa State's favor.
That
awesome
is
special teams.
Yeah.
We've got really good return guys, and we've got a really good kicker. So in theory, get a kick return out to like the 35-yard line and string a couple first downs together, you might have a shot at points.
Yeah, I really do. Like, he will win us at least one, like, without a doubt. He's got to be the best kicker in Iowa State history, right?
Pretty good one. I say, like, obviously, I think he's got the biggest leg. I think he's got the school record for longest kick.
Yeah. And just to beat Iowa twice, 2 years in a row. Legend forever. My GOAT.
Biggest leg, biggest third leg, best highlights.
Yep.
All right. I have us at 6-6. Dylan has us at 4-8. You know, we've kind of hashed it out. I'm actually Dylan at 4-8 is an optimistic number for you. I thought you'd have us a little bit lower than that.
I think like 3-9 is possible, but that would kind of leave me disappointed. I feel like I think 4-8, you could go into the next season and like with some sensible optimism. 2-10 is a disaster.
We're not going 2-10. I think, guys, we don't know ball apparently.
Damn. Tough.
What a shame.
I basically said myself that I don't know ball, so I can't really be that mad about that comment. But
all right, well, Dylan, I thought what we do to talk about the Nets tonight is we just go to Google and we're going to type in Brooklyn Nets. I said I was going to try and look up a story. I didn't, so we're just going to go to Google News and see what they have to say about the Brooklyn Nets.
All good things, surely.
Okay, so for our Nets minute tonight, let's read an article.
Oh God, that first headline's brutal. Did you read that one?
Where are you, Michael Porter Jr. right now?
In a bad place. that guy, he is a volume shooter on a terrible team, and those are some of the worst players to watch. He's just gonna be chucking, and more power to him. But
okay,
that's a tough headline.
In a world where Michael Porter Jr. says, "Yeah, I'll come on the Litecast," would you want to be on that episode?
I think for his safety, I don't want him to be on any podcast at all. Have you seen some Michael Porter Jr. podcast clips?
Oh yeah, he is not a guy that I want to like have on a microphone. But if he for some reason said he would, you wouldn't come on the podcast to talk to him?
We would get at least 2 viral clips, and I'm talking like would be like viral. Like he's just a walking like. I don't know if he's ever been media trained. You wouldn't think it by watching some of the things he says.
Well, Dylan, there were 2 headlines here that really stood out to me that I'd really like us to just kind of look through the articles. So I like this one, how the Nets can play to their strengths and improve their dreadful defense. I think that's kind of fun. So we'll read that one. And I want to know who the way too early trade candidates are for this season.
Okay.
So which one do you want to read first?
Let's do way too early Nets trade candidates, because if they're trying to talk me into a Julius Randle Nets trade, I'm gonna have to call for help or something.
All right, let me get the screen pulled up again here. I don't know why it went away. All right. Here we go. I will say we kind of breezed through it, and reason for that is, and I say this not in like a mean way, but Dylan's not wanting to go like super in depth on every team we're going to play. So
Yeah. There are guys at Cyclone Fanatic and at Cyclone Fanatic After Dark that know a shit ton about football. I am just not one of those guys. I'll still talk about it and argue about it, but I'm not super educated on it.
all right, so I think let's okay. Sorry, I already breezed past it. Season's still a ways away. Trade rumors ever take a break. The Nets are in a unique situation with a promising young core, expecting legitimate production from veteran talent. So I think these are guys that the Nets could potentially trade away this year. So first up, Terrence Mann. How do you feel about a Terrence Mann trade?
Sure. I don't think he's in the long term. I don't know if the Nets have a long term plan. I don't think anybody currently on the roster is part of the long term plan.
All right, how about Dayron Sharp?
Uh, I mean, like he probably is the Nets starting center at this point with Nick Claxton no longer being on the team. So I mean, you'd probably have to trade him for another center, but there are going to be teams that are like just desperate for size at the deadline. So if you can get like some picks or something, then sure. But I mean, you're basically like accepting that you're going to be a bottom 3 team in the NBA.
All right, so here's the good ones. Okay, Julius Randle, a guy that the Nets traded for, I think, probably with the intention of trading him away because he makes a lot of money.
Uh,
Are you looking to move off of Randall, or do you want him to be on the team this year?
I like also just as an Iowa State fan, like he plays the same position as Joshua Jefferson, and honestly, like not a bad what's the word I want? Like mentor for Joshua Jefferson, like a guy that's been in the NBA for a long time. I'm sure he has some wisdom. He does not have much to offer as a basketball player at this stage in his career. Um, and yeah, his contract is one of the worst in the NBA. So, and like it makes sense why that contract is on one of the worst teams in the NBA. I
Let's.
will
It
say
look
I like him more than Michael Porter Jr. That bar is low, but I do like him
okay.
more than Michael Porter Jr.
Looks like Randall has a $36 million player option. I'm assuming that's for next year.
Yeah, sure is.
Uh, I don't know. I think he
It's a
might
good
actually
gig if
opt.
you can get it, Keeney. It
I think he
really
might
is.
opt out of that though for a longer deal.
And probably wants to play on a contender this late in his career, but I don't know.
All right. So, and then last but not least, Michael Porter Jr. I mean, my goodness, if you can find somebody to trade for him, by all
Yeah,
means.
yeah.
He's so. What we have to say here is Porter and the Nets have yet to reach a contract extension, but if they do before February, meaning he'd remain in Brooklyn until the offseason, the deadline to get a deal done is the start of 2027 free agency. So, Dylan, I mean, we know your thoughts about Michael Porter Jr. You don't want him to be on the Nets anymore. So
He's not that guy, pal. I also like
certainly not if you have to extend him.
even after the KD trade when they brought in Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson, like those were two like really good dudes that were really solid basketball players and like they were young and they're not going to be like stars of a championship team, but they're building blocks. What the hell's Michael Porter Jr., Keeney? What are we? He could be an all-star, like legitimately. He might score 28 points a game because there's just nobody else to score. Keeney, you know who could have scored some points on this team? Cam Thomas, who got waived. He scored 50 points in a goddamn NBA game, and you can't get a second-round pick for that guy?
Apparently not. I think the reason he's not on the Nets is because nobody wanted him.
Well, he's
Like
on the Bucks.
legitimately, they
He's on
couldn't
an
get rid of
NBA
him.
team. He's playing in Milwaukee these days.
All right, we've got one more article to read. I'm excited about this one. How the Nets can play to their strengths and improve their dreadful defense in the New York Post. Okay.
Keeney, unless it's
Oh
something caption.
no! Oh, it's paywalled.
Oh, that's brutal. In the caption,
Okay.
does it say who that guy is? Try not to read it and tell me who that guy is for the Brooklyn Nets.
Oh, I already read it. I'm sorry.
Damn.
Do you know who Josh Minot is?
The name somewhat sounds familiar, but I can't.
Oh
I'm not
man.
sure I've ever seen him play a basketball game.
All right. Well, I'm not subscribing to New York Post Sports Plus to read about the Brooklyn Nets defense. That's
Looked
a
like a
bummer.
great journalistic team, but
But we got to look at some trade chips, some guys that they could move before next year. So I mean that was fun enough, right?
man, it is a bleak roster in Brooklyn right now. And someone said, like, what do you think about Joshua Jefferson? Like, if he can stay healthy, he there's anybody on this roster can carve out minutes. And I think like Joshua Jefferson is already kind of is that was that Jackson, was that the team that had Amoni Bates? Because I really thought Amoni Bates was going to be like a perennial all-star in the NBA when he came out of high school.
I'm
I
not
think that
familiar
team
with
also
Josh
had
Minot's
Jalen Duren.
game. Apparently he was at Memphis at one point.
So I have seen
Y-
that guy play a basketball game.
would you like to talk about the WNBA?
Nope.
Good, because I don't either. All right. Dylan, did we miss anything? Is there anything else we want to take care of quick before we wrap up the pod?
I don't think so. Always good to be on the podcast. I'm sorry if I piss people off about my football comments. And again, this is coming from a place of I want the best. I'm just expecting the least. I'm not actively rooting against the Cyclones. I want them to win every game. I think it's a little foolish to be too optimistic about this team. Nobody knows anything.
I would say the chat did a pretty.
I thought I was going to catch a little more heat. There's a couple comments. Donnie's coming after me.
Dylan, you're not that guy. Oh, here. Okay, for anybody who doesn't know, Dylan, why
Sure.
are you a Nets fan?
So I grew up, I mean, like knowing what you know about me, Kevin Garnett was like my favorite player growing up, just like the biggest, like scariest defensive player I've ever seen. He played in Minnesota while I was growing up. I followed him to Boston when he formed the Big Three with Paul Pierce and Ray Allen. Loved Rajon Rondo, still loved KG. Then they all kind of went to Brooklyn, and they were all kind of in like the twilight stage of their career. But like there was this, like they had Joe Johnson, who was still kind of in his prime. Jay-Z just like became a co-owner. They like changed their color scheme. It looked super slick. And I was like probably 12 or 13 years old. And I was like, that's my team. I was like, that's my goddamn team. So even though like KG technically went back to Minnesota to retire a Timberwolf, I just kind of stuck it out with Brooklyn. Saw some like really fun times. Just kind of like lucked into the whole Kevin Durant and Kyrie James Harden thing. And just like strangely enough, that was when Iowa State was really bad at basketball. So I watched a lot of Brooklyn Nets basketball through that time. And I still follow like probably 20 to 30 Brooklyn Nets Twitter accounts. So I still see like stuff from time to time. But so yeah, that's kind of the Brooklyn Nets origin story there.
All right, I love it. And look at where you are now. You know,
Yeah. Look where it took me.
I love that you'll commit to the bit though and keep sticking with them. How do you feel?
Also, Joshua Jefferson was awesome. That was, and I saw that live on this podcast when Joshua Jefferson got drafted to the Brooklyn Nets. People forget about that, Keeney.
I know we were live when it happened. It was pretty cool. How about Cooper Flag and the Mavs? Do you got anything for me about that one? Am I
He
allowed
is
to be a Mavs fan right now?
by far the best young white player to play for the Dallas Mavericks, probably since Dirk Nowitzki. Is that fair, Keeney? I can't think of anybody.
It's a very Hawk fan thing of you to pick the Nets because they're your team.
Hawkeye Dylan.
You're a Hawkeye fan. Oh yeah, you work for the biased Hawkeye media too. You know.
Yeah, I've just kind of stuck it out. I'm also like, I'm not. I know I literally did hop teams with Kevin Garnett, but then once he retired, I was like, well, I don't really have anywhere else to go. So
We've got all right. Donnie wants to know what you think about LeBron on the Sixers.
They do have a really solid team. Like I kind of forgot VJ Edgecombe was on that team, and he's a bunch of fun to watch. It's also got to be so cool for guys that young to play with LeBron James, because like LeBron James has been in the NBA as long as that guy's been alive. I think they'll be good. They obviously have to stay healthy. Embiid's always hurt. LeBron's always hurt. But like, is there a team better? Like, I hope the Pacers are really good. I hope the Pacers kind of pick up where they left off in 2025. But I think to start the season, even though the Knicks just won the championship, I think the Sixers are probably the team to beat. But I wouldn't say they're as good as like the Spurs or the Thunder.
I got to be honest with you, it's kind of reinvigorated my hate for LeBron.
Sure. I mean, he did hop on basically the most ready championship team he could have played for, which is kind of what he's always done. But
not a LeBron guy over here, so I'm kind of excited about having a hate watch team next year. I really am.
And Philly's just a fun city to root against. Their fans are unbearable. So,
all right, well, Dylan, I think we'll kind of wrap things up there. Hey, thank you for doing this. Next week's game week. I can't believe it. We're finally here. It's been a brutal summer. I'm so excited to just have real games, and I'm really excited to see Iowa stay on the football field. This new team, new coach, new staff, new everything. Like, this is, for all the hypotheticals that we've talked about for months, like, it's time to see it for real. The best way to get people to buy in, people like Dylan, is to prove it on the field. So I'm excited to talk about SEMO next week. I'll be here on Tuesday night. We'll see if Matt's available. If not, we'll figure something out. But for sure, I'll be here. Dylan Cooten, thank you for being here. And let's go ahead and sign off.